Wiswesser. Thanks, brother. Thanks for coming back.
Thanks for having me out here. Always appreciate it.
How are things in New Jersey right now?
Coming back. That's
because you're an athletic trainer, right?
So I work in a high school as an athletic trainer. So we just got notice from the governor on how we're allowed to come back to sports and school. So we're starting to figure all that out. But I think July 13th is the intended date for everything to start opening.
And you don't know if they're going to have like football or contact sports yet?
It's all up in
the air.
That's
crazy,
so
huh?
We're going to see
2 weeks away.
2 weeks away, yep. So I have to build a whole protocol and policy plan and within a week and a half. So before we start.
What are some of the things that they're planning or saying that you need to do? Because, I mean, if you have a football team.
So the way right now it's phase 1 is what they're calling it.
Okay.
So we have to do all workouts outside, and then it'll be groups of 10. They have to come in to a check-in station where they have to have like forms already filled out that they'll complete before they get there, symptom checklist, things like that. So if they say yes to any of them, they can't participate. If they check off no, then they're allowed to participate. We do the forehead scan. If their temperature,
the temperature check, yeah.
Yep, temperature check. So we'll do that, and then they're going to move to a warm-up station. They get to warm up for extended period of time. They'll move out over to a workout station. You know, that same group is always going together. So that group of 10 will go from the warm-up station to the workout station to the cool-down station, and then they'll be sent home after that. And we're just kind of do waves of
just adjusting, huh,
waves
to
of
the
10.
situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do the QR code. Well, it has a waiver, you know, of like the questions, you know,
to go through that before everyone shows up.
Yeah, when they come in.
Yep. So we're trying to, I think we're going to do Google Docs is what our school uses, but they'll fill that out at home before they show up. We'll review it if they, show up, and then do the whole process from there. So It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. That's the way I can describe it.
Yeah. It's always hanging out. Always great hanging out with you and seeing you.
I know. I've had a blast the few days I've been here so far.
You just finished the Spetsnaz 101.
Which was a great experience. It was a lot of fun. This is my first time ever filming a program.
Yeah.
So now seeing how it's done and knowing what Scott's gone through in order to produce as many videos as he did, it's a lot. It's
mind blowing, right?
Yeah. And you have a great, efficient way of going through this whole process that made it really simple.
With a team too,
with
right?
With a team that it was done so well. So it just makes it smooth, and it was fun while we were doing it.
I'm just comparing to Scott by him pressing the on button,
running around, getting set up.
Yeah.
So no, it was a great experience. I had a lot of fun doing it. It didn't feel like work. We were just having a good time doing some TACFIT. So yeah.
And so you shared with when we were on the last podcast that we did the group one that 10 years ago, you met Scott, right?
Yeah. So we were on a family vacation. I saw Facebook memory showed up. It was 10 years ago within the last week or so that I met Scott. He ran me through the Spetsnaz program that he was beta testing. We did 3 levels of it. So not just one 20-minute workout. We did 3 20-minute workouts back to back to back. And that was my first exposure to TACFIT in general. And it was the Spetsnaz program. First time ever using kettlebells. So we had run through that. I think I lasted 55, 56 minutes before I had to tap out and say, listen, I'm going to throw up all over your living room. So, I'm good for now.
Yeah.
And he finished the last 3 or 4 rounds, and now here I am, paying tribute to his original program.
Yeah.
So
what makes Spetsnaz unique, to other programs?
It's a lot of non-conventional style lifts that I feel a lot of athletes and fitness programs have gone back to traditional movements. So this has that component where because it's a 101, it has some foundational movements because you need those in order to progress from there. And then we throw a little spiciness at you that you haven't seen in a while. It's a little bit different that I think is going to cue people certain ways that they're going to find interesting that because they haven't done it before, and really test their strength but still at a fundamental level. And so there's still room for this whole program to grow.
Yeah. So I'm really excited actually, just because there's movements that I haven't messed around with. And I mean, the last time Scott was here and we were working out with him, and he was doing kettlebell Spetsnaz things, right? And
Yep.
I felt like my crotch was gonna rip, like
Yep.
like but like literally, like I thought it was gonna. I'm like, oh my god, what? Just getting in different positions, right, and
Rotating
then pushing,
and
rotating,
pressing from there. It's there's a lot to it, but as long as you fundamentally go through all the steps to get into the proper position, use the proper cues, it's not a hard exercise, but you have to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no, it's some good stuff. I've ran through it multiple times, and I think it's a good one. The guys watching today
Yeah.
thought they're like, this is a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it all comes out.
I always think of jiu-jitsu and how is this good for grappling and things like that. And I always think like, okay, like bench pressing, right? You're like in one position, right? Pushing, right? But in jiu-jitsu, you're pushing from all, of course, you're pushing from every angle, right?
While your legs are twisted one other direction and you're upside down or however it is.
And so when I look at that's why it resonates with me so much. When I see you teaching the techniques, it's like, that looks like what I need, to be able to move and be strong in all the different, all the positions, right?
Yeah, so there should be a translation over to jiu-jitsu, absolutely. Just because of the relationship that TACFIT and jiu-jitsu have to begin with. So now some of these
Grappling.
movements are pretty standard, from one to the other. So you'll see a nice crossover there and true benefits from one to the next.
Yeah, are you familiar like with Scott, like how it evolved or what?
What Spetsnaz training?
Yeah.
From what I remember, it's when he went over to Russia. This was the non-conventional movements that they used and that they trained with, and then he had brought that over and developed it for the rest of the TACFIT community. So I went back, I watched all those videos all over again, to see what he did, how he progressed it, what his base movements were. Took some knowledge that I already had from experience with him, and some things I really liked, some things I was just like, all right, we can modify this slightly different to the new style training that we have in TACFIT, and just evolve the whole program and keep it still at a base level that anyone could work with.
Yeah. It's really excited, like just different positions, that we don't really do. I did the strong first surge and stuff, and it's just like I just appreciate, just moving in all the
different ranges,
pushing, just pulling, right, and all the different angles, all the different positions.
So a lot of the movements, you'll have a basic press, but you're rotationally twisted and still stable. And not, when's the last time you ever saw someone do that? So it definitely throws some complexity at you.
Like the last time, well, that wasn't the last time. Yeah, maybe it was the last time you came. We did a podcast, but we did one with Scott as well, right? And he was, he's saying how he, confines in you and trusts you, like to coach him, And so we talked a little bit about it, and I think in our podcast, But how does that feel? How does it feel to, like your mentor of, how old are you when you met him?
23. 33 now. So
yeah.
It's the dynamic of our relationship has changed within those 10 years, and even over the last few months, it's changed again. For the better. We're very close now, more so than before. And he's still mind blowing in what he talks about and the knowledge that he has. Like going back to watching the Spetsnaz videos from 10 years ago. All those coaching cues finally make sense to me now that I've been in the system for so long that I'm like, all right, I see what you were doing, but that was him 10 years ago. So, it's trying to play the catch up and just learn from him and absorb everything he has to say. It's overwhelming, but he is so supportive of, like we'll have a meeting and he'll call me afterwards. He's just like, all right, let's break this down so that you understand it. So he's really taking me more as the mentorship aspect to make sure I understand it instead of, he used to throw me to the wolves and be like, hey, like when we went to the NYPD, 9 years ago, 8 years ago, I was like, Scott, I don't know what we're doing. He's just like, don't worry about it. You'll figure it out as we go along. But now it's, he's like, no, you need to know this before, we do stuff. So his teaching style has changed to really make sure that I have true ownership of it. And that's starting to resonate with me now. So when we ran the workshop, the virtual workshop, last time, 2 weeks ago, my teaching confidence, I felt that. So as I was teaching, I was just like, I know this. Where like, I can just talk through it and not have to worry about having bullet points anywhere? Or is this, I know this so well that we can start talking about it.
Yeah. Just like your relationship, like you've known each other for so long, like to, just to get, of course, like his confidence, but then to have you, I guess, understand it for yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then be able to share that, give it back.
Yeah. No, it's been fun. It's been fun to see my own growth and then his own growth within our relationship.
Yeah. Tell me about the New York. You went the NYPD.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that. What happened with that?
Man, this is when I was fresh into TACFIT, so I was kind of just along for the ride. Scott was saying, "Hey, I'm in your area. If you want to come and hang out and see what we do, then we'll do it."
Yeah.
So we did. What was it? I think.
What were you there for? Because you always lived in
Jersey,
East Coast, Jersey.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like,
and Scott was always in Washington,
on West Coast. So
yeah.
they had set up, one of our mutual friends, Miguel, was a former NYPD detective. So he had set up a seminar for us, and we had went in and just trained a bunch of police officers that wanted to sign up for the seminar and learn some tactical defense and how exercise can help you, recover while in a stressful situation. And so we put them through workouts and just explained how to proper breathing and basic TACFIT rules of, recovery and then translated that to say, hey, it doesn't matter if you're working out or it's a stressful situation. Your mind sees that as the same thing. Stress is stress.
Right.
So, when we try to teach that, then you say, now you can use your exercise to learn how to improve your job performance. So when something stressful happens.
Did you just talk about it, or did you have them actually exercise and
we had them exercise
recover in the exercise,
everything.
so they really learn it, right?
It's essentially a TACFIT workshop. So we talk about it, give the lecture, explain the science behind it, and why we're gonna teach what we're about to teach, and then you run them through a workout, right? And you see how high everyone's heart rate gets, and then you give them all the coaching cues after that. Then you run them through you drill it and practice it a few times, and you run them through the workout again and watch to see the heart rate recovery, and the numbers don't lie.
Yeah. So you're going back, 10 years, but were you always athletic?
So growing up, yeah, we always, three sport athlete.
Okay.
Even from a young age, it was, always playing sports. If not playing sports, I'm the youngest of 4 boys, so we were always out and about, or the neighborhood kids, playing. So did sports up until
I just
college.
saw a picture. I remember seeing pictures of those days, like the New York, whatever, that New York seminar. It was like there's old pictures there with you and Miguel and Scott, and you were like you were really skinny,
like 155
pounds.
Yeah.
So what happened? What
Scott happened? That's the easiest. You go down the rabbit hole. So you start to learn TACFIT, and you learn the movements, and you understand like that fitness side of the program, and then came the nutritional side, where you start eating a certain way, and then you get results from that. And then I was like, all right, now can I manipulate the eating to get better performance? And then with better performance comes more muscle growth. So, at one point I think I got up to
what kind of eating things?
I've done a lot of different things. I use my body as a science experiment. So I've done like a carbs-based diet.
What kind of things did he tell you to do?
There's so many different. There's so many different things.
I guess you started with the training, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what were the training things he had you do?
So Spetsnaz was the original program. Mm-hmm. Then I think it was TACFIT Warrior came out. We ran through that for a little bit. Then TACFIT 26 to start prepping for certifications, and then from there it was whatever he was beta testing, that was what was given to me. So it was, 3 months of whatever program he was about to come out with, and that's what I did. And then 3 months, whatever the next one was. And, I've been
10 years
of just being his guinea pig of, what do you think of this program? And then give my honest feedback, and all right, on to the next program. So
nice. And he's been going down the rabbit hole and breathing and
everything now. It's astonishing to see where he's gone with it all.
What about this last year? What are some of the things that, like, work training wise?
I started to get into
barbells, more
so
barbells.
We started to get to barbells. So we did a lot of deadlifts and floor press, more conventional style.
Mm-hmm.
And then how we can condition but still strength train at the same time. So that's been an interesting experience, which I wasn't normally a barbell type person to begin with, but it's grown on me. And now, like, if we can go deadlift, like, with a barbell, let's go. That's probably my favorite exercise to start doing now. But we've now shifted some of our training to be the best we're going to be for that day. And sometimes you have to tailor your workouts based off of flying across the country and now jet lag. So how do we, benefit from not being jet lagged? So I'm not going to go do a heavy barbell deadlift because I've been sitting, 7.5 hours on the, between my layovers and everything. So I'll do more of a mobility workout and loosen up to prepare for 3 hours of doing, our filming today. And,
like you did when you first arrived yesterday.
Yeah, I told you, I said, Alberto, listen, before we eat, I got to go work out. And so, land, say hi to everyone, thankful I'm here. And then, all right, I need my 15, 20 minutes just to go decompress and loosen up so that I don't have to, hurt from, being in that chair position for so long.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's training and you live it, right? So you've been living it. So the diet, like, what are some of the things that he had you do,
So we,
because you're like, okay, then he first had me training, then he had me,
the eating aspect diet, of it. Yeah. So it's gone to paleo was like one of them that we did for a while. So it was a lot of egg whites and spinach and lean meats and vegetables. And then we did, I went to a carb-based diet where it's more of a bodybuilder because I wanted to put on mass. So I figured out one meal plan for, 6 meals for the one day. And I ate that for, it must have been a year and a half, the same meal plan for a year and a half with like slight, like,
you would ask him for advice.
Actually, this is like that's where I started to go down the rabbit hole myself because he's one to admit, he's like, listen, I have a great knowledge in it, but not very like in-depth knowledge of it. He's like, you gotta do your own research. So he's good about giving you information, right, but then making sure that you
being honest too. If he's
being honest that he doesn't know all of it, but that you should also go study it and learn and
decide for yourself instead
of him just
saying this is how it is because this works for me.
Or that's what he says. He goes, this one works for me, but you should try it and see what you think. So I did a carb-based diet for a long time. That was probably where I put on most of my mass.
How much do you weigh now?
Oh, I haven't weighed myself all quarantine. Probably in like the mid 180s.
So you put on like 30 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, I think at my heaviest I got up to like 197. I was trying to like see if I could hit 200 just to say that I've hit 200, but I didn't feel great when I got up that high. Affected my jiu-jitsu a little bit.
You got slower.
A little slower, like my body ached a little bit more. So then I went to the keto diet and I did that for a year. Same thing. I figure out one.
You got heavier. Were you able to lift more weights? Was that why you felt good being heavier? Or you just wanted to get as heavy as you could get?
For some reason, like saying that I was 200 pounds just sounded like a nice number. So I know like Scott was kind of...
Sounds like a guy thing to do.
Yeah. Like I know Scott was kind of getting like 195-ish or I forget how. And I was just like, well, he's getting that big. I'm going to get that big. So I was just like, can I still maintain my body fat percentage? I try to stay under 10% body fat percentage and then be that weight. And then, my body fat was going up and I was, I started to not do it properly. So, cause I was so focused on just a number. And that's when I said, this isn't worth it. So switched over to the keto diet. I did that for a year where now you go from like a carb-based diet to a fat-based diet. I really enjoyed that. Just because you're not eating the same quantity of food. So on the carb-based diet, I was having 6 Chinese food containers, within 12 hours. And I'd have an alarm on my phone for my next meal. And I'm like, oh, I got to put it down. And then when I went keto, maybe 3-4 meals at most, mainly 3 though, because the fat is more calorically dense than carbs. So you don't have to eat as much. And didn't sacrifice any performance, leaned out. So that's when I got down to like 187, 185-ish. Didn't lose any of my strength. So I was like, this is definitely where I want to be. And, my energy level was better throughout the day. So now that, on a fat-based diet, fat adapted, that's the one that I enjoy the most.
Felt the most right for you.
Yep. And I think it's easy to balance. And, if I want to go and eat some carbs and enjoy, wine or whatever, like if I'm out with friends, then I'm going to have that and that's okay. And, we'll just get back on track the next day.
I was going to say, so like when do you remember like you're like what happened? You're like Scott happened, and you put on 30 pounds of muscle, but like super healthy, like with mobility and strength and just all the right way, right? All the right things. So what are some memories that you have of like your body changing and things happening that hadn't happened before? Because you said you're always a skinny kid.
Yeah,
right?
so it was skinny, and I always had abs when I was skinny because just being skinny. Then you start, I changed how I ate, so I leaned out a little bit more, and I was just like, oh, like I thought that looked good, but I like still weighed 160, maybe 165, at the time.
I see.
So then I was like, well, I want to, when I stand next to people, you obviously compare yourself. I was like, I'm the skinny person in the group, like, but I only have abs because I'm, so tiny. So I was like, well, I want to be one of the guys that has a good amount of mass to them that still is like lean and cut and can now move some decent weight. So when you see, former people that were in the TACFIT community, you're like, well, that's who I want to look like. That's, if they're the top guys, then that's what I need to look like. So being the competitive person that I am, I said, well, if Scott's doing it, then I'm doing it. So if he can do it, I'm going to do it too. So that's kind of how it would progress. Scott would do something, so I would just follow along because, well, if he's doing it, then I need to do it. And if that's how he's doing it, then I'm going to try to get the same results, if not better. So
what are the things that, like, you did the Spetsnaz, and what were some of the memories that you have? Like, I just remember I'm trying to think of myself, like, for me, I had such like mobility issues, but I broke my wrist and I couldn't put my weight on my hands. And as I started to train, I started to feel like not so much pain anymore. And I started to just kind of start to feel better. I used to be like achy everywhere. And because I was doing the interflow and all the different movements every day, I just started feeling better, What are some of the things that you remember kind of happened in your training? We're like, man, this is good for me. I'm doing the right stuff.
It's tough because I've never, like people have come into the program because they've been hurt or, they found their way in because of injuries or they just wanted to move better. Where I kind of got thrown into it because Scott was family. So it was just, let's go along with it. But the thing I realized that it really kind of was that aha moment for me is when, I go into my high school weight room to teach whatever, let's say we're doing, squats or deadlifts, and it doesn't matter what weight's on the bar. I can get down in a good position, no warm up, and lift it, quality technique. And I attribute that to TACFIT. So it doesn't matter the situation. I'm always prepared for it, which is our slogan here at TACFIT,
Right.
So I think once you can start moving some serious weight, you're still mobile. So as I'm doing some of the yoga poses, people are like, wait, how are you getting into that position?
You're able to squat, you're able to bench, and
even
deadlift,
even if
weight,
you do like
row
pigeon
weight.
pose, like when I do pigeon pose, everyone's like, why are you that flexible? Like that shouldn't be a thing after.
I'm still working on my pigeon pose, but I
It's
do
just-
it,
yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like I'm terrible at yoga, absolutely terrible at the decompression like movements, but I do them every day because I know I'm terrible at them, and like that's one of my weaknesses. So I don't skip it. That's one of the things I do every day now because I need it
most. Yeah.
Like for me, like the exercising that comes somewhat easy to me, and that's pretty not mindless, but like it's effortless for me. Where like that's the easy part for me. The struggle for me is doing the decompression and being good at it. So that's where I've gone to, and I try to be as well rounded as possible. So
like you met Scott just because of family, and and that relationship developed. When were you like, man, this guy's like a really big deal, and this guy's like legit, like I'm like, just kind of like I got lucky, basically to.
I think I knew he was a big deal because before I met him, I was told that he's like this big martial art guy. He fights. He works out like a maniac. He's pushing Jeeps around as his workouts. And I'm like, wow, like this guy is pretty intense. Like, let's see how it goes. But then the more I hung around him and like he invited me to places and to do seminars, Herkimer, New York and NYPD or Virginia, wherever we were going, he was just like, hey, if you want to tag along, tag along. And then when you see people come up to him and like, you changed my life, like all the stories hearing from you guys, that's when it hits me because I'm used to, seeing him at Thanksgiving dinner or on the beach in Virginia, and we're just on family vacation, just hanging out. That like you don't see that every day, but then when you go to the seminars with them, and that's when people are coming up and like, you changed my life, you did this for me, you did that. It's hearing those stories is super inspirational, and that's when you're like, wow, this guy's, there's something about him. And then you start hearing it more and more. Then that's when you realize that it's kind of a big deal. So
yeah, I mean,
you alone. That's
and then I'm able to help my friends and just people that I influence, right? And so that just his influence, right? And then that spreading right to another
the trickle
person,
down effect,
like yourself now, like
everyone I come into contact with. I have clients that train TACFIT with me, and they're like, "Hey, you changed my life." And I said, "No, it's a system. Like I'm just a proponent of that system to teach it to you, and that's what changed your life. It was like I just might have been the vessel to help you learn that, but it's all because of Scott." So,
and when did you start jiu-jitsu?
So September will be my 7-year anniversary with Silver Fox. So yeah, it's all kind of coming around the same time.
And how has TACFIT and all these movements, how has it helped you in jiu-jitsu? And I think just like for me too, I just think now, like, how has it helped you stay healthy and not injured?
So there's a couple components to this one. I feel like I pick up jiu-jitsu a little bit easier because the movements are very similar. So I might not have done certain jiu-jitsu moves, but I'm like, hey, that kind of looks like a shin box, or this is a shoulder roll. So like things clicked a little bit easier for me, where people in the beginning, it's so awkward for them to move around and do that it might take them a little bit longer. So I feel like I progressed a little bit faster than normal and due to TACFIT. But then you see different aspects of, I really don't get hurt, knock on wood. Like I have great training partners and that makes a big deal. But, I know how to change the intensity of my training based off of how I'm feeling. So TACFIT has taught me that recovery aspect of, I don't need to go balls to the wall every day. I can
breath awareness.
Well, then that's the next thing, right? So this has all been progression. So we were here 2 years ago, I think it was, was it a year ago? Or no, 2 years ago for the breathing workshop. Or a year ago.
I lose track of the years, but I think it was last summer.
Last summer?
Last summer, yeah. So a year ago.
I've been out here so many times now, they're still starting to blend. But yeah, so Scott did the breathing workshop, and that was stuff that was new to me. So I took that and brought that over to jiu-jitsu. So now when I'm training with someone, I can tell when they're tired. So like I've started out like learning how to do jiu-jitsu, focused on my own breathing to figure out when I was tired and when I needed to recover within, the jiu-jitsu match. So that was one aspect of it. And then I was so aware of that now I can bring that when my training partner starts to breathe through their mouth, I'm like, they're gassed, like time to turn it up and let's start going a little bit. And I can take advantage of it, or to see when they hold their breath, and that's when I can counter them. I can move them because they're locked into a position. So there's so many different aspects that start to
like my friend Alexander, who's like, he's like, man, I would have got hurt, or I would have had to tap, in this position, but because I do the mobility now,
you have that gained range of motion.
He was able to get out, right? And then he was able to win, right? Because of that.
Well, think about that. Like as a mobility drill, he used that as the escape. So not only did he have the mobility to be in that position, but then he used the drill to actually escape from the movement. That's a beautiful thing. Where now you've ingrained that every day in your life because you practice mobility, and that's the escape
clean your
for
movement, right?
Moves.
You clean your movement. Yeah.
So
it's cool, man. Like I appreciate so much, it's made me better teacher. It's made me better than so many things, my jiu-jitsu wise.
Right, just in your own life, in your own academy.
When I think about like team leaders, TACFIT team leaders, guys that have that, they know all the movements and they have it ingrained, not kind of ingrained, they have it ingrained. And so even if they haven't done jiu-jitsu, I won't say they're purple belts, but kind of,
Well, they can move well, and
they know like they're
not,
the false grip, just all the different things, and I can change up I got it,
Yep.
And then just also like normally like a white belt would spaz out.
Mm-hmm.
Normally he would get tired.
Yep.
Normally, maybe he could get hurt, but even like Ryan Provencher, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's, he's
Ryan.
the firefighter, firefighter chief. Yeah. I totally felt safe, and he even did the advanced class,
Really?
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. That's a great thing.
That's such a like a business card, right? For TACFIT, and just it's like everybody should be doing TACFIT,
Yeah, then they
beginners or advanced,
Yeah, the two businesses work together then.
And then of course Scott's example, like he says things, he's done all these things right for other people, and then just him leading by example, right? Like he gets off the plane, I don't know where he came from, but he just jumps on the mat. Can I train? Of course, you know.
Yeah.
And then he just can train with whoever.
And he still has it.
And I see him moving, and you know, he's like, man, I want to be like that, you know.
So when we've gone on vacation in the summers, we used to wrestle on the beach all the time, and I'm like, man, I'm getting pretty good at jiu-jitsu now. He doesn't really train as much. Like, there's got to be a point that I got to catch up to him, and I'm going to start getting the better of him. But he still throws me around. He's judo throwing me all over the beach into the sand, and I'm like, how do you? He's like, well, I got so many years of doing it. So it's so impressive, you know, as my feet are.
And he has different like you know, his leg, like I'm like a fan of his the leg locks and stuff, you know, and he's just so high level, you know, and just beyond like, you know, things people don't do, you know, like I trained with him, and he was like grabbing my leg, and I'm like, man, this guy, he's like super like
sneaky,
like, you know, the way he was able to control the leg, I was like, it's high level, man, like the highest level. You know what I mean? I still
have his saddle DVD.
The Master Saddle, exactly. Yeah, so I wanted to kind of feel like how he controls, and I'm like, man, this guy's, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting, and now see how, you know, people in the jiu-jitsu community have said, hey, we've studied that, you know, along with a couple other ones to you know, evolutionize leg locks. So it's cool to see that he was one of the ones that was doing it way back when in the 90s, and now people are.
What's the Wolverine guy's name?
Eddie
Cummings. Yeah. Give him a shout out.
Yeah.
And one of the articles. Yeah. So I'm sure that got integrated with the Danaher guys, you know?
Yeah.
But he was way ahead of his time, and even in these grappling things, right?
In everything so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go to all these old forums, right? And you know, and I'm studying all these different things, and I look at, you know, because they're still up, right? Of him battling, you know, people like, oh, you're a fake, you're a quack, you know? And now it's science, right? Because we have the imaging technology and we have all this stuff, right?
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. That off of his intuition, you know, he's just like, this feels right. I don't know why, but for me, this feels right. You know, I'm going to deep dive into it a little bit. And then now the science is starting to catch up with what he had talked about back then. And, you know, people always talk about him, you know, give him credit for, you know, he's been doing this for a long time. So
yeah,
it's kind of remarkable to see that.
Yeah. Man, I'm really excited to, you know, do the Spetsnaz 101 program myself, you know, just add some of the positions, right, the movements, you know, into my program. Like, it's hard because there's so much information that Scott's produced, right?
There's so much.
It's like a library of
so many.
It's not even like
videos.
It's like, you know, it's like a library of information, right? And it's just crazy how much time, you know.
Whatever rabbit hole you want to go down. You want to do ropes. You want to do rings. You want to do kettlebells, club bells. There's just there's so many programs that you could just pick one and really just dive down and explore that. So, yeah,
I'm really excited.
No, me too.
You excited about the mace?
Yeah, that was actually today was the first time I've ever touched one. And, you know, after watching Isik, you know, teach some of the movements yesterday, you know, I started to practice it outside when we were walking to the photo shoot. And I'm like, this is kind of pretty cool. So it's definitely an interesting tool.
It feels right? Especially with Isik.
Yeah, after some of his coaching cues,
TACFIT trained.
Then I was just like, oh, this makes a lot of sense as it's moving around. And, you know, first time I've ever picked it up, I'm like, oh, this is cool. We could get down with this. So yeah, I'm excited to see that one now.
Yeah, you excited about TACFIT, the future of TACFIT?
Yeah, you know, I always say this. It's a newborn energy that, you know, there's a lot of awesome people involved. Nestor, you know, being our educational director, he's done phenomenal things that even through this whole pandemic that we've done the virtual workshops so that we're still getting information out there and connecting with
trying
as
to
many people.
grow the community and connect with the community, try to support them.
So it's just it's nice to see that people are taking, you know, a stand and trying to evolutionize and grow the business. So you know, but that's all credited to you though. And
I mean,
you do.
I'm appreciative, you know, I'm just grateful that, you know, what it's done for me, and I want to see this thing get what it deserves, right? And that means just reaching the people, right? Mm-hmm. And just, you know, for Scott too, you know, for him to get.
But you're also willing to just let other people take the reins in certain aspects and let them.
I'm a fan, man. I'm a fan. Like, number one, like I told you, like, just like learning from you guys, like the Spetsnaz and the maces and the club bells, and just like I learned all these different. I learned from all you guys, you know.
That's why I love coming to all these workshops and seminars. You know, even with Christian from Spain, the way he was teaching, I'm like, man, that's some good stuff. Right. So, and like I've never met him before, and just doing the workshop with him, I'm like,
but I think that's how things evolve, right? I just know jiu-jitsu, and that's how things evolve, like in the group, right, in the team. and you
Someone
exchange
does something
from
slightly different.
different.
But why do they do that differently? Because of their body type. So now when you
Exactly.
encounter someone that has that same body type, you can give them that cue.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
I'm looking forward to having a summit, a TACFIT summit.
really.
I'd like to see that happen.
That would be pretty dope.
That'd be cool, huh?
Yeah.
Hopefully we can make that happen.
We might need a bigger venue. Yeah.
Let's see what happens with the pandemic things, you know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Happening.
I'll definitely be there. That's for sure.
For sure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really excited. Maybe even to have a cool spot, you know,
Yeah.
cool location. You
Yeah,
know?
that would be cool.
Like
how
maybe
many
a different
people we could
city, you
fill
know.
in. Yep.
Yeah. Kind of retreat, kind of a thing, you
Yep.
know. And then have all the team leaders and just
Everyone could just go to whatever workshop
Directors.
they want to do.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you just kind of give them a broad range of different tools and exercises. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a great vision. I'm
Yeah.
with it. Yeah, for sure. You let me know. I'll book my flight. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you, man. Thank you for
having me.
thank you for your
having me out.
friendship.
Yeah,
You know,
no,
you were
this is
at my
great.
first cert, you know.
That's right.
Got to hang out.
Bellingham.
It was the 20-year the 20-year anniversary
Of TACFIT. Yeah.
TACFIT.
So no, it's been great. I always enjoy coming out here and always have a blast. So yeah, let's keep it up.
Yeah, I'm excited for the future. I don't feel like we've even we're not even
Scratch
warmed
the
up yet.
surface. No.
Yes.
There's so much that we still need to do.
There's not even a scratch in the surface, right?
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
really look at the big thing that it really
We're
is.
trying to grow it too. So
Yeah.
no, I'm excited. I'm ready for this.
Yeah.
So.
How can people find you?
I'm on Instagram, Bandicoot Crash. And then Facebook is Matt Wiss, WIS. So yeah, reach out. Like if anyone needs any coaching cues or something like that, I'm more than willing to help out. So
Thank you, brother.
no, thank you.
Thank you.